Okay, I mentioned I had trouble with my rear sight on my Taurus TX22, so I went to their website and bought a whole new rear sight assembly. It cost like $19. It was $9 for the sight and the screw. You can buy the screw separately, and it was like $8 shipping. So I'm going to take a look at this. Now, the way this thing is pushed over to one side, get the screw out of there. Well, not quite. This isn't, it's kind of at an angle. But when I got it, it was like this. So it's kind of unusual. And I believe what happened is I stripped out something on the sight that came with the gun. I stripped the screws out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble the gun, and I'm going to examine this thing here and see what's wrong or what happened with this one when I take the old one off. Okay, after examining the rear sight, I kind of just turned it to get it to where it's somewhat centered. It's like right up against this, just like from the factory. So I clicked it to get some space in between them, and it appears that it's just a flat cam underneath that lifts the rear sight up. And I believe what I probably did was strip out the screw on the old sight. That's why it keeps dropping back. But it all looks like a pretty simple thing. One screw in the middle holds the sight in to the slide, but I can't get this screw loose, which must mean that it's Loctited in. So I'm going to go get some, okay, all you got to do, get some acetone and a Q-tip, get it wet, drip a little on there. Give it a minute or two to work. See if we can break it free. To look into this. Okay, after getting the screw and everything done and this rear sight off, they Loctited the hell out of it. They put Loctite in the up here in the dovetail, and if you can see the screw hole, that's got Loctite in it, something fierce. And so there's this little tiny screw. So they like Loctited this damn thing down to where I don't know if it got to where it bothered the mechanism. So what I'm going to do is try to dissolve what the hell's in there. And this here, I got it cleaned. But yeah, that's may be part of the problem with this. So I'm going to clean all this crap out and try to get that whole Loctite cleaned out of that hole. It was hard to get it out of there. And I'm going to reset this with some Loctite once I get it cleaned up and try to get the new sight on. So, okay, so what I believe was going on here, when they put this other sight on, they smeared Loctite in the dovetail, in the back and here. It was pretty heavy. And I believe the Loctite got up in the back of this sight. It was close, but it got up into the mechanism that raised and lowered. And I believe the Loctite would eat away at this plastic. This is all plastic. Okay. So what I am going to do to replace this is I'm putting 1 drop in the screw hole. And yes, it's red Loctite, but the acetone will dissolve this. If you have to remove this sight, the acetone will take this off. Okay, I don't want any Loctite on the plastic sight, because the new sight, when you put this in a dovetail, this thing goes into the dovetail pretty damn tight. I mean, you gotta push it. You don't have to hammer it on, but it does go into this dovetail fairly tight. Okay, so you don't need to Loctite the dovetail like they did, and I think it kind of screwed up the mechanism of the rear sight. And now I'm just going to set this in there. Tighten it down. And that should be it. No fuss, no muss. Now, say I had to remove that and you said, hey, you used the red Loctite. Well, the acetone's probably going to melt this plastic anyway. So if you got to take the sight off again, you just put the acetone down in there like I did, and eventually, if you put enough of it, it'll soak down in there, loosen the Loctite. And now I know why they sell you the screws, because you tear them screws, breaking the Loctite out. But that sight actually sits in there pretty damn good. I mean, you know, you press it in there. You don't have to Loctite it. It's in there tight. It's in the dovetail tight. Now I got space on both sides. I actually probably moved it too much, but I moved it, made sure everything's functioning. I'll check the elevation again. And get the screw to stay in there. Yeah, that's working. So everything looks good, and we'll take it out and try to dial it in again. I got this about where I really wanted it, I think. I don't know. Let me see if the side to side works. Yeah, it moves. So it looks like we got it working. I think they got the damn Loctite up into the mechanism, because if you look at it underneath, there ain't much to it, and you can see where it was around the screw. But here in the back of the sight, you could see where there ain't a lot of room there, and there was a lot of Loctite residue in there. So I didn't do that. I think that's fine as is. But we'll get out to the range and I'll bring a screwdriver and we'll dial it in and see if it holds this time. Alright, so that's my sight change. I ended up just, you know, I figured instead of sending it to them, having a complaint and all that other stuff, I figured I'd just pay them. It was $9 or something for the sight and the screw, and another $8 for shipping. So $20. In 4 days or something, it came to me in the mail. So I didn't have to fool around with a warranty and that. I mean, I'm not $20 to get something. And if this doesn't hold up, then I've seen several other options for different sites to put on here. And if this doesn't hold up, I'll go with one of those other type of sites and see. But that's the fix. It wasn't too terrible. And I think what it is, they overdid it with the you know, because I see when people show, even on the G3s and G2s, Loctite, I don't think it reacts well with the plastic, and to put it in the dovetail and get it in there, and that kind of pressed in, you know, I mean, you had to press it in. So that's not loose, even without screwing there. I don't really think it takes something to get it out, so I don't know. All right, well, that's the fix, and we'll try to get out this week and do a little more with it. All right.